Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for calling in for our week 2 of the summer sprint series. Renee, I want to just kind of introduce you to all of these beautiful people. But pretty much I grabbed a bunch of rock stars that raised their hand and said, I'm in, I want to sprint, I want to go executive by celebration. They're dialed in. They've decided to take their 3x3 and put it on steroids. They are doing massive calls, massive enrolling, massive rank advancing for others, and really just trying to grow their business by duplicating leadership for their own business by celebration. And so we decided that we would have an elite group with elite millionaire training in order to just pour love and greatness into them from people that have gone before them, people that have a skill set, people that have experience, to give them the tips and success that they need in order to go to the next level. And you guys, I am so excited to introduce to you Renee Schreibman. She is an amazing, amazing, amazing leader in this company. I had the privilege of meeting her just over 2 years ago in St. Thomas. She was a winner of the ISA Derby trip, and so was I. And not only the two of us, but you guys have also heard me kind of reference before the ISA Mastermind foursome that we formed, but we became great friends alongside Jessica Rigner and Jamie Lynn Curley. There's actually a Facebook thread that has the four of us in it for over 2 years, where we really share ideas, we inspire each other, we motivate each other, and we're kind of all leaders of our teams and have really collaborated over the last couple of years. And she was so instrumental in the week that I went 5-star. And I said, there is no one better right now than to hop on the call and really just fire some people up in regards to their success and their goals with this. So for those of you that are familiar with, the uplines and the teams and the family trees of Isogenics, Renee Schreibman is coming down from the Cepedas, who are our #1 income earners in Isogenics. She's also been coached and mentored with Jessica Johnson, who's a millionaire outside of the Carolinas as well. Renee is in North Carolina. She is a 4-star Crystal Executive, 5-star Golden Circle. This girl is a millionaire in action. She's won the ISA Derby, top pool earner. She for sure is on her way to be an Isogenics millionaire. Heart of gold, so much skill. And I just want to give you guys a little bit more of her background outside of Isogenics, but she has over 13 years in corporate consulting, sales, and management roles. She's a wife. She has got 3 beautiful children, 2 little boys and a daughter. She thrives off empowering others. She leads through motivation, support, and relationships. She has an incredible passion for health and freedom. And honestly, you guys, she's witty, she's fun, she's sarcastic, she's bright. There's no one that knows numbers better than her. Like, I can literally send her a screenshot of my pools and the shares that I earned, and she hits it on the head, like to the penny of what I'm going to earn. And then we get paid. And I'm like, how do you do that? So with no further ado, I would love to bring you to the call. Renee, say hello, please. Oh, you're muted.
No, I'm good. I am muted. My connection, I think, is really bad, Lauren. So if it is, I'm going to have to move locations. This amazing freedom lifestyle that I live has afforded me to spend lots of time with my kids at the beach this summer. So we are at Hilton Head. For any of you who have ever come here to visit, it's gorgeous beach. But thank you so much, Lauren, for allowing me to join your call. It's an honor. It's a privilege. She speaks very highly of all of you all the time. So I'm excited to be able to share with you guys. I think, Lauren, you're going to ask some questions, right?
I am. So the first thing that I would love for you to do is just kind of share your Isogenics story, how you were introduced, like how you decided to build this business, why you think speed is sexy, what happened, in your kind of first few months that got you into massive action, and just kind of what's gotten you to where we are today.
Okay. I think I caught all that. I had to move inside. I could not hear anything you were saying. Okay. So you asked me how I was introduced to Isogenics, right?
Yeah. So I'd love for you to definitely kind of share like how you were introduced to Isogenics, what made you want to run with this opportunity, how you built so fast. You're a 5-star Golden Circle in less than 3 years, like what would be just kind of what inspired you and what got you into massive, massive, massive action.
Okay. Hold on. I'm going to turn off the baby monitor. I think that's what's ruining my signal. Okay, that is so much better. I am so sorry. Thank you. Okay, so I was introduced to Isogenics about 3 years ago by a college girlfriend of mine. Her name is Elizabeth Laconey, and she also happens to be a 5-star Golden Circle, 4-star Crystal Executive. And she had been posting on Facebook just about how she had achieved some better health. She had some digestive issues. That's actually what attracted me to Isogenics was health. I struggle from a digestive autoimmune disease. And while I'll never be cured, definitely flooding my body with the best nutrition possible truly changed my overall health picture. I had been struggling for about 18 years. So once I put the products in my body, it lit me up from the inside all the way to the outside. And I became extremely passionate about how I felt. I had no desire to share with people, generate income, or build a business. However, I was about 3-4 months in, and people started to naturally notice there was a difference about me, whether it was my skin looked different, whether I had dropped 20 pounds, which I did, whether it was just, my overall energy levels, which were increased drastically with Isogenics. So I started to get a little bit curious about what Isogenics could provide for me, whether it was in the form of getting my products paid for, or maybe helping to offset some of our debt that we had. My husband was getting ready to graduate with his MBA. And this was about October, November timeframe. And I thought, this would be a great way to help pay down his loan repayment. So some of you might have student loans, or a lot of you might still have student loans. So for me, it started off just as an opportunity for me to pay those back. And I became just so passionate about my story and what Isogenics had done for me and for my health that I really became intentional with my sharing. Before, it was very casual. So if you're somebody who, up to this point has been casually sharing, I challenge you through this sprint. I mean, I know you're here. These are a group of people that are fired up, and you guys are going to be running, locking arms all together to do this, to make this happen. This is your time. There's no better time than right now. Everybody is stressing about getting to the beach in that bathing suit. Everybody's stressing about how they're going to pay for that beach vacation. So there's no better time than now to talk about health, to talk about wealth, to talk about hope, to talk about freedom. A lot of teachers this is, their time off, but when they come around August, September, they start dreading things. So think about how you can help somebody and make that difference. That's what someone did for me. And that's how I keep focused at all times, is that if I don't share this with someone, I'm doing them a disservice. I'm cheating them out of an opportunity to change their life. Because not only would I not be in the best health of my entire life, but I also wouldn't have the freedom that I have now. So I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about what drove me into momentum, as Lauren talked about. I, around November, December timeframe, was approached by Jessica Johnston, who is, I am her 3 PET. So just so you kind of understand, in case you ever hear or see these names anywhere, a girl named Elizabeth Laconey introduced me to Isogenics. Elizabeth was introduced by Delilah, and Delilah was enrolled by Jessica Johnston. Jessica Johnston is direct to Herb and Patty Cepeda. It's kind of my upline, so you understand where I come from. And so Jessica found me. My upline, Elizabeth and Delilah, were not interested in Isogenics from a business opportunity at that point. So I was kind of this person hanging out over here, and I was a power enroller. So I was enrolling a lot of people with my story and my passion for helping others. And I was a heavy product enroller. I will be very upfront with you and tell you I did not share the business opportunity until closer to 6 to 9 months into my Isogenics journey. And there were multiple reasons for that. So if that's you right now, I challenge you to think about what's holding you back from sharing that. What's holding you back from blessing somebody with that opportunity? I have a woman up the street from me that I prejudged for about 12 months, assuming that she not only didn't want the help, but she didn't need the financial opportunity. And one day she came to me and she said to me, "Renee, I want what you have." And I was like, "Well, what is that?" Like, I didn't know what she was talking about, because I couldn't imagine she wanted the financial opportunity that we have. And she said, "I'm miserable. I've been a teacher for 18 years and all I want to do is get out of my job. All I want to do is be home with my kids, to be able to shuffle them around and to be able to help other people." And she's a runner. She runs her neighborhood all the time. And so I just kind of slapped myself on the hand and splashed some water in my face and realized that I needed to stop prejudging people. So a few months in, Jessica shared with me her journey and her story. And she locked arms with me and she pushed me and she challenged me, kind of like what Lauren is doing here with all of you over the next 6 to 12 weeks. She's locking arms with you guys and she's going to challenge you and she's going to push you outside of your comfort zone. She did that with me. She said, why not you get to NYKO? This was in December. I was a full-time working mom. I worked about 50 plus hours a week and I traveled a lot. I traveled all over the United States for my job. I was in consultative sales management role training, and I wasn't home enough. I had 2 kids at the time. And so I took all my miles, hotel and flight miles, and I said, what do I have to lose? I'm going to go. I went to New York kickoff. So if you're kind of debating right now about whether or not you're going to go to Celebration, find a way to get there. Room with people, make it happen, because events are ultimately what is going to change your belief. I went to Celebration, and in my professional role, I went to conferences all the time. I'm sure many of you can relate who are on the phone. You've been to some type of conference for a job that you've done. This is nothing like that. And so for me, I was blown away by the company, the professionalism, the content, the energy. It was a culture that I wanted to be a part of happy, healthy people. And I completely immersed myself in it. This is around right after they launched ISA Derby. And then they announced the top 20 start individuals. And my name was there. And I was shocked. I had no idea I was even close to being eligible for this amazing contest. So I went full speed ahead running through this contest. When I got home from NYKO, I hit Crystal. I was barely a manager. I think I had 3 consultants at New York kickoff. And within about, I think it was 4 weeks, I hit Crystal Executive and flew up. And by the time we got to ISA Derby, which I believe was in May, might have been June, I was a 2-star. So I just ran. I ran with all the runners. As soon as I hit 10 consultants, 20 consultants. And that's something for me that I will tell you all, I make sure I always keep my bench stacked. So I'm always going to have, 7, 8 consultants over here. I have 12 on my inside leg. I always have just stacked number of consultants. And that's just the power of duplication. Anytime I introduce Isagenix to someone, I ask them what 2 people are they going to bring with them? It's nothing. It's not even a question. What other 2 people do you know that need this help? Let's get you some accountability partners. So that's really how I grew quickly. I just really wanted to make sure that everybody was duplicating. And it wasn't just a front line. It wasn't my personally enrolled. It was those next generation. That was the 2 PET, the 3 PET. So that I really kept not just wide business center full of consultants, but a deep business center as far as my the PET goes. So hopefully that answered your question. I want to make sure I got all of it. Lauren, was there another part of it that I missed?
No, you're doing awesome. I'm going to go back and have you fill in some details because I know the levels of where a lot of these people are. Okay. And then I know we're going to get the numbers and the pools and all that stuff, which is your forte. But when you talk about when you came back from New Year's kickoff and you were a manager and then you were executive in a matter of weeks and then 2-star in a matter of weeks. And we talk about how anybody can go fast. People want to dabble around and do this slow and pull off the Band-Aid one hair at a time, fine. But if they're really ready and get laser focused, it's possible. I mean, you and I both have gone executive in that sprint and jumped through the ranks in record time. So I would love to hear from you. What was it that you did? What was that massive action? What did you do that got you, from manager to executive? I've got actually 3 people on here right now that are all managers saying, I'm going Crystal Director this week. It's how are they going to, create 3 or 4 consultants in a week? I've got a couple people that are director that are saying, I'm going executive. We set this deadline of June 26th because of the end of not only the June pools, but to be able to, be recognized at Celebration. And that what corporate told us was the last final day, even though it's the reset, to really be able to get recognized with any, bonus pools, stuff going across the stage, whatever. So we've got lots of people right now saying, I want to do this by the end of the week. I would love for you to just share some of the tips on how you are a massive recruiter, master enroller, and created consultants on purpose and with ease.
Okay. Awesome. Great question. So what would you call me a master? I just feel like I'm an anybody, but what I did, and this is what I also tell my team to do, and this is what I tell other teams to do as well, is I go and find husband and wives that are already enrolled. Or I ask them, is your spouse already enrolled, or your significant other, or your mother, your brother, your father, your sister? Are those people already enrolled? Have you helped them? Have you shared this with them? And I look at my downlines to see who already has that going on. Start finding new consultants. I go and see who of my product users have maybe shared with one person, or who have not yet enrolled a family member or a spouse or somebody else that could join them on this journey and also help them grow and share. And so that's where I start to begin. Okay. And that's what I did, because my first 4 months, when I finally decided to share, even though it was very casual, I enrolled about 20 people, and they were all product users. So I have a very heavy, one of my sides of my business is very heavy in product users, because I put a lot of those people over there, just not necessarily intentionally, but because that was just the model that I was following, and that I was very heavy into product. So the thing about the product users were a lot of those people either didn't have an interest in sharing, didn't know they had an interest in sharing yet, or I hadn't pulled that out of them. So what I did is I went back to everybody and I asked them, how are you feeling? How's your experience been? And then I say to them, has anybody mentioned anything to you about the changes that they've noticed? Like maybe that you lost weight, or that you have more energy, or that the whites of your eyes are brighter, or your skin looks better, or whatever that might be. I'll ask them, well, what do you say to them? And that right there kind of opens up a door of possibility. And so that they're not feeling like they're selling somebody something, or they don't feel awkward or telling somebody about what they're doing. They have to make sure they're simply sharing. Well, they asked you, you're going to tell them what you're doing. And then from there, you want to engage someone else in your team to help come in and validate, because you're the first person, that they've heard this from potentially. And they might be like, oh, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Or, oh, it worked for her, it's not going to work for me. Or, oh, it's just another one of those programs, right? We've all heard those objections. And so the minute you bring somebody else in, it's just about you and them. It's about you, them, and someone else who also has had a similar experience. So I really, I leveraged my upline to also support me along that journey, so that I could really create consultants fast, and so that I could support those folks maybe that didn't have the knowledge in regards to the product or sharing, or how it worked in terms of the amount of money that they were going to get back for sharing with those people. I also encourage, and Lauren, hopefully you won't kill me for saying this, but I do encourage people, if you want somebody to get started, and, this is, let's say, for example, like me, I really would love to help my team. So if I already have somebody that's enrolled and I want to be able to help them, sometimes I will support them in that I will give them a $25 consultant bonus, or a $50 consultant bonus match to them. And then they ultimately get to choose what they want to do with it. They can keep it, or they can pass it on. But I do try to incentivize them, or I'll have them do, like, I'll give them I'll incentivize people, like, hey, we'll do a call with you and someone else, or you get to pick from my pantry. I sometimes have a pantry stocked full of things like Isogreens, Isofruits, and I'll tell them, if they hit consultant, they can pick from my pantry next month for that individual. And so I just will PayPal them the money for the free shipping for their order that next month if they hit consultant. So there's lots of little things that I do also to incentivize people, because oftentimes they might not catch that vision right out of the bat. So they might not immediately see what you see, but you ultimately want to help them. If somebody getting that double PIB, if it potentially double PIB is an option, or that consultant bonus, that's going to offset the cost of their product potentially for the next month. And that's a really big deal. And that also helps with retention. So those are some of the things that I did in that, short span of time to really figure out how I can race to executive.
What do you think would be tips on how to make your list and have a massive list? And also, what advice would you give on how to overcome the no's and keep going, to not let that derail you?
Okay, let me make sure I got it. So you said, how did I make my massive list? Was that number one?
Just if you were going to do that
run to how do I overcome the no's?
Yes. there's a big delay.
Okay. So writing to executives. So, well, actually, I think Lauren, you might have even taught me this, but this was obviously before we knew each other. I think it was you, Lauren. I had to pull off your Facebook list and put it into like a Word or Excel file. So that's number one. Number two, I pretty much, like I mentioned, I don't prejudge anybody or exclude anybody. So I think about who I interact with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's people in medical offices that I'm going to visit, because back then I used to be in the doctor's office all the time, all the way to the UPS man, to people who come to service my home, people that I go to get my hair cut, or restaurants, people who have entrepreneurial spirit, people I know that have health issues, maybe through your church or your temple, my friends, old friends. I went through my yearbooks. I really did. I moved a lot as a kid. I actually used to live up in the Northeast. And so I would go onto my elementary school, middle school, high school Facebook groups and make sure that I was friends with everybody. And I just let people start watching what I was doing. And I joined groups. So that this way I could grow my list. And I just kept, anytime I would reach out to somebody, I would add someone else. And that's kind of what I do recommend, is that you make sure that you don't stop at 100 and you don't restrict yourself, because I can guarantee you everybody on here knows way more than 100 people. I think 100 is just kind of a cop-out. So go ahead and just keep growing and adding. But if you're going to cross someone off your list, whether they enroll, go ahead and add somebody else in. So that's going to kind of lead into the no's. Like, how do I handle the objections? And I'm actually very low, no pressure. And I want the timing to be right for people. There's plenty of people that I have brought along with me on this journey, and the timing was not right. And back then we didn't have healthy mind and body. So there was a lot of self-sabotage that went on. So now I strongly encourage, if you know somebody who's already giving you a hard time about joining you on this journey or getting healthy, or they're in the midst of it and they're struggling, get them registered with Healthy Mind and Body. Hands down, without a doubt, because that will really take away a lot of the opportunities that they have for self-sabotage. And it will also help you better understand how you can help them. So as far as the no's go, as far as, objections, we've all heard it. We all hear the same things. It's too expensive. So I pretty much go through the cost objection strategy. We often, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but if not, I can make sure Lauren gets it for me after the call and share it with all of you. But Chris Harder did a call probably about 2 years ago on cost objections. And what he does is he pretty much walks somebody through what their current day looks like. And as they're running through what they're eating, what they're drinking, what they're snacking on, coffee at Starbucks, donut runs, whatever it might be, even the junk food that they eat, he starts tabulating in his head how much it costs. And then once they're done, he's like, oh, so it sounds like you're spending about, $18 a day, $20 a day, right? And so then you wait and you check for their acceptance, because you want to make sure that you get their buy-in, so that when you go and you talk price later, they already have already told you that's how much they're spending. So they're not going to be, of course, balk at the price that you're giving them, because they understand and they see what that value is. I also make sure that I talk to people and they understand, what are you paying in vitamins? What are you paying in copays? Whether it's pharmacy, whether it's doctor's offices, those are all expenses, their health, because they're giving their body the nutrition that it wants and it craves. Those expenses might start to dwindle. I'm a prime example of that. I love it. But before we went to Isoderby, Lauren, I have not shared this story with you. My husband has a severe allergy to bees, so he carries an EpiPen with him. And we went to the pharmacy to pick up his EpiPen, and the pharmacist was like, where have you been? I haven't seen you guys in at least 6 to 12 months. And I just started laughing, because we used to live at the pharmacy. We joked that we had like frequent flyer miles there, which we actually really did. We would get so many points, I would never have to pay for my Halloween candy. Like, I would just get it all for free at the pharmacy. And so it just goes to show like that great health. And I use that example when I'm talking with people on the phone and they're giving me objections. And these are people I know that are paying so much money for their prescriptions at the pharmacy. I just say, like, you can help reduce some of these excesses in your life. Junk food is expensive. So when we're talking about costs, I really want to break down to them what their day looks like as far as cost. And then turn back around and say, well, you could flood your body with the best nutrition possible, 2 meals a day, get in some clean snacks, some nuts, some apples, things like that for your snacks, and then fix your, one dinner. And look, you're actually going to be saving yourself money. So cost is a big objection. Oftentimes I'll get the objection, this isn't a good time. No time is a good time. It's no different than if there's no time, it's a better time to have a baby, right? Or there's no time is a better time to do something you've always wanted to do. You're always going to be wishing, waiting, hoping you had more. And I hear that a lot during the summer. So as we're creeping into the summer months, you're going to get people, oh, I'm going to be on vacation, or, oh, I have to go to these parties. And, what I explain to people is, wouldn't you love to go into the summer being lighter than you are now, or feeling better than you are now, or curbing those cravings that you have now, so that by the time you get to that party, by the time you get to that trip, you're not going to be putting yourself even further into this hole that you're in. So people always say to me, oh, I'm going to go on a cruise. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you love to go pounds lighter, maintain your weight while you're on the cruise, and come back and keep continuing the most amazing health, right? Like, that makes sense to me. Same thing with the holidays. That's how I feel about summer. Go with you, whether drink your shake for your snacks if meals are super important to you, and just eat smaller meals. Like, there's always ways to make it work if somebody really wants. You try to make sure people are focusing on the positives and what they can do and they want to do, and what's driving them to want to do that, really focusing and honing in on that, instead of all the other noise and all the other stuff that's going on around them that are as to why they can't do it. So those are some of the things I talk about as far as like cost or excuses, because I get those all the time. I still get them.
Those are great. That's, man, I love how you're showing them how to overcome the objections. And I just stuck the Chris Harder call out there, but I meant more a little bit on the mindset, because people are derailed. Like, they'll start to get fired up. They're like, oh, I'm going for this. They'll call 3 people. They'll get 3 no's, right? And then all of a sudden they've like told themselves this story that they're in sales, like no one wants to buy anything, that they're pushing their friends, their self-esteem goes down. They feel they're being rejected. I was hoping you had a little bit of like the oomph of how to stay in the game, that like on our run to executive, we got all those same no's. It was just like that relentless, that perseverance that you have.
Got it. Okay. I must have missed that. My connection. It was
great. It was great. It was so good information.
I'm so sorry. Okay. So, listen, I get no's all the time, and that's where I would go with no enrollments. And I think one of the biggest things is you really have to get back to be true to you. So if you're somebody that has a really passionate product story, you need to share that. So I'm going to use myself as an example, because this actually happened to me. And despite what you all might think, I've been 5-star now for a year. And so a lot of people, you might find like feel like you're stuck, right? You might have enrolled 3 people and you're like, I can't get anyone else to hear me out. And so what I really have to do is remember that it's going to take you more than one touch to one person to be able to change. There's a lot of people in Isagenix that are amazing leaders that have been in this industry for a really long time. And they'll tell you it took 10 to 20 times for some people to say yes to them. Just because someone said, no, not right now, don't feel defeated. I worked in door-to-door cold sales for a very small stint. And I will tell you, that was one of the most brutal jobs I've ever had. So you have to remember that if somebody tells you no, it just not right now. The majority of the time, it's just not right now. It's not about you. It's about them. So you just have to say next, next, next. That's one thing Hertz Cepeda loves to always say. It's like next, next. Really, it's okay if somebody says no to the next person, because somebody really does need this. And it's okay if it's not that person. You have this huge list of 100 people that you can go to the next person. So, it's completely normal to get no's. It's completely normal to go through 20 people. When I do blitzes with my team, or I'll have a week where I'm just going to follow up with everybody on my list, 50 to 100 people, and I might get 3 responses. So I am no different than you. Is no different than you. Pretty much everybody in Isagenix is the same in that sense, is that we all get rejection. We all get no's, but it's how you handle those no's is as to whether or not you are going to be able to succeed. And that's the thing, is that if you want this, there are people out there that want it just like you do. You are no different than them. It's just sometimes you have to pave the way for them. You have to educate them, and you have to love on them just a little bit more than the last person who maybe came to you and was like, all right, here's my credit card. Not everybody's going to do that. And I'll say, so recently I mentioned this earlier, but one of the things that I did was I got back to product. I had really been sharing my lifestyle of freedom that I had been living for a while on Facebook and social media and LinkedIn and even belly to belly. And while it was genuine and it's authentic and it's real and I'm so passionate about it, I found that product users make some of the very best business builders. And so I really got back to product and sharing product and talking about product and how it can make a difference in people's lives. And in the past 3 weeks, I enrolled over 15 people just by making that shift. And some people have been watching me for 3 years. Some people were brand new and just came to me out of nowhere. But actually, a lot of the people that enrolled in the past 3 weeks were referrals. So maybe that person is telling you no right now. So ask them for a referral. Say, I totally understand the timing isn't right for you right now. Is there anybody else that you know that's looking to lose weight, gain lean muscle, have better sleep, more energy that you might be able to refer me to that I might be able to help? And so I think 3 or 4 of them were referrals. And so that's a really strong way to kind of overcome that objection in the current situation and move on to make it something positive.
You guys, what Renee's saying, I really, really hope you are taking some golden nuggets from this. Both Renee and I have been top millionaire in actions, like more months than not since we joined this company. And that's a formula that's based on a minimum of 5 enrollments a month, your personal rank advancements of like your team, your cycle growth, and then weeks paid as executive. Like we've never fallen out of executive, which is where I'm going to shift here for a second into the pools. But like one of the things that we are relentless about is double pibs. Like if you enroll 1, you're enrolling 2. Like if you have $25, like put your butt in the chair and do whatever it takes to turn that into 100. If you've sold a president's pack, you have $80, like turn that into 320. I mean, that's the mindset that we have. But we figure out different ways to meet people, to network, to connect, to make sure that we always have our 5 enrollments in a month. Like that has never like not happened, right? And that's where I told you the 4 of us in this mastermind thread, like what's working for you? What are you doing? Where are you connecting with people? How are you doing this? And Renee recently like kind of re-inspired me because I was kind of like, man, there's a lot of people right now that are not wanting to do the business. And she's like, go back to the products, go back to the products. 87.5% are with the products, you know, and I did a tech blitz the other night and my exact verbiage is what Renee's talking about was with the passive referral. And I just said, hey, I know that Isogenics isn't for you. I know you know what I'm doing. Otherwise you would have asked me, but I'm so excited to get people ready for summer. If you know anyone looking for a reunion, you know, is getting married, has a family vacation coming in, I would love an introduction. I want them to look and feel their best and I'm confident I can help. So many people wrote back being like, wait, I actually do want to do it. I'm getting married. Wait, actually I want to do it. I've got my high school reunion. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Like, well, how much is it? I mean, it started the whole conversation, but it's because I was A, leading with the products, and B, that passive approach. There's a girl, when Renee's talking about timing, I just told Ashley right now, I just enrolled her. I've been working on her for nearly 3 years. She came to my very first launch party, has watched, and last night was like, I need to lose weight. My wedding's in 60 months. Like, okay, like the products are going to work, you know, so be consistent. So Renee, why we have the rest of the time here for you, I want you to touch on the fact about the importance of staying executive. So many people hit executive and fall out, you know, that they fall out of momentum. They are like, oh, I hit it. Like, oh, I'm done, you know, and like you said, you keep your bench stacked, that it's not 5 and 5, that we talk 10 and 10, 20 and 20, like going deep. And then I want you to just go into your passion right now with the pools, with the director pool, with the executive pool, not only how much money is in there, but really for the people in the pools right now, how to capitalize on that. And just like, even if you're comfortable, I mean, share some stories with you and your upline and people that you know that have earned significant money in the pools, like more money in the pools than maybe they're earning in cycles, and what the value is, because sometimes people don't recognize what's there. And there's no one better in the company, I think, to train on this than you.
You're sweet. Yeah. So I can't stress how important it is to stay executive once you hit executive. So I'm gonna touch on that. But what I want people to understand, and I don't know if all of you on the call know this, when you're a director and you hit executive, you no longer qualify for the director pool. Okay. So just want to make sure that's very clear so people understand. The director pool obviously you can make great money in the director's pool, it's 6 consultants. But I tell people race to the 1-star executive pool, because that's where the most money is in this entire company. I think the shares, I'm not sure exactly what they are now, but they're somewhere around $200 a share. And you can make up to $5,000 a month in that pool, and you can be in that pool for 6 months. And that's where the money is at. I mean, there's so much money in that 1-star executive pool. So what you want to do is you want to get your 10, and you just don't want to stop there. You want to keep growing. And yes, people are going to drop off. It's normal. And that's why you want to keep sharing. And once you hit executive, you don't want to coast. You might shift a little bit in helping people on your team to share with others, but you never personally want to stop recruiting. And that's ultimately where people find that they start to fall off or they lose executive, is because they stop recruiting. But you have to make sure you're not just inspiring your team to recruit, but you too are also recruiting, because that's also what's going to help you maintain executive. You don't want to fall off executive. Hit executive, you're going to have a 4-week look back in cycles. Same with the director's pool. So it's going to look back at your cycles for the past 4 weeks, and then it's going to take an average of them, and it's going to create your benchmark, which is ultimately going to be what's going to be determine how much money you can make. So let's say, for example, prior to hitting director or executive, we'll just say either or, you've hit 3 cycles every single week. I'm making it even just for the sake of math. Well, your benchmark is going to be 3. So anything you do over that, you're going to start earning shares into that pool. And there's a great formula that Lauren can coach you guys on that's used to determine how many shares, but those shares are worth money. And that money is significant, especially when you hit that 1-star executive pool. Like I mentioned, it's $200+ a share, which is huge. Another awesome thing that Isagenix just added in, and I don't want to make sure that we leave out or forget, is that 5-cycle bonus. So the first time you hit 5 cycles, you've got to be paid as consultant the week prior and the week of that you hit it. So the week prior, you have to be consultant. So let's say last week you had to be consultant, and this week you have to be consultant. And if you hit that 5-cycle bonus, you get the $250. You hit it again, you get another $250. That's awesome. I mean, that's front end money. So not only is that great for you, but it's great for the people that you're introducing this to, because it helps with retention, and it helps for them to see immediate front end money of our compensation plan. So even though it's 5-cycle bonus, they're going to get the residual on that. So they're going to get, 5 cycles, $54. It's another $250+, but they're also going to get that bonus. And that's a lot of money to people. Think about what a difference $500 could do for somebody for that week or that month even. And so don't forget about the 5-cycle bonus. But what I also really, really love about our compensation plan is that right now, you don't have to be executive, even though you should, to get that 1-star bonus. You only have to be a manager. That bonus is $500 the first time you hit it, $500 second time. That 2-star bonus, you got to be director, right? So many of you are probably eligible for that now. And that's just based on the growth of your team, and that you're supporting your team in growth, but you're also continuing to recruit. And then again, that 3-star bonus is, you got to be paid as executive. So why not go ahead and get executive right at 1-star and start to max out in that pool? Again, I mentioned it's a $200 2-star and above pool for those of you who are going to be looking forward to that in the future. That's based on it's going to be a little bit further back in your business. It's going to be looking back at what your averages of your cycles were to ultimately determine what your benchmark is and how much money you can make. But the big thing you really want to focus on is recruiting and duplicating over and over and over again, and supporting and loving on your team, showing them that you're there for them and that you want to help them, just like whoever introduced you to Isagenix is hopefully doing for you. If not, that's going to be Lauren. So you just want to make sure that you're getting back with those people so that you can make sure that everybody feels supported, and that this way you're ultimately going to continue to grow instead of plateau.
Renee, you're awesome. You're just firing them up. I know you're dropping so much golden nuggets. I want to ask you one other question, then I might open it up just real quickly. But if there was any tip of advice right now for people that are motivated this week, like today's the 21st, they've got a deadline of the 26th. There are some people on here that there are some pretty sweet incentives out there. If you were just going to fire them up, what are your tips for massive action, ending this week, and then also to absolutely not miss the crystal reset if it's people that are eligible for that? What would they be?
I would say be transparent with people that you're trying to meet a goal. People oftentimes want to help you if you tell them that you need help. So I remember somebody came to me and they were trying to meet a goal in their network marketing business. And I was like, sure, of course I'm going to help them. Like, I want to help them meet that goal. So if you're somebody who this week you're trying to hit Crystal Executive or you're trying to get to director, don't be embarrassed by that. Be transparent with people, because if these are people that are close to you or people that want to support you in your journey or want to support you in helping others, they're going to help you to achieve that goal with you. So that'd be number one. I mean, be transparent that you're trying to meet a goal and or that you want to help more people, or this is why you're helping people, because you're passionate about it because of X, Y, and Z. Dig deep, right? Go back to those people that I mentioned who maybe are the ones that are going to help you get to executive, and start with them and find out, how does this make them feel? And, is sharing a part of that? How can you help them to get their products paid for if that's a goal for them? So it's about you, but you need to be honest with people about where you're at and what you're trying to do, but also making sure they understand your goal is really to ultimately help love on them, to support them. So I would just make sure that you're doing all that. I would be following up with your list. I'd be calling anybody that you know, and seeing who is going to help you, who can find two. It's all about finding two. Whether it's a new person or it's somebody that's already in your business, all they need to do is find two. Eric Coover did an awesome demonstration at I don't remember, it was one of the post-celebration events, I think a year or two ago. And he had people stand up in the room. And this was, for me, it was kind of eye-opening. He's like, okay, I want you to stand up. All right, so find two people in the room that you know. He finds two people and he says, okay, you two go find two people you know. And then it went on and on and on. And literally within minutes, if not seconds, the entire room was standing. Everybody knows two people. It's really that simple. And don't let someone tell you they don't know two people. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. That is so, so very important. We're trying to race to executive. There's people in this business that can do it in one day. There's people that it's going to take 2 years. I have a girl I'm trying to get to executive right now too. And she's 2 years into her journey. And it's not for that it hasn't been for the sake of trying. She's had over 20 consultants in her journey, but it just so happens when she's at 8 or 9 consultants, someone drops off, right? And it sets her back, but she has continued to persevere. She's continued to be consistent and persistent and shown people, this is what she's doing and this is why she's doing it. And she's going to hit it. There's absolutely no doubt. You have to have that belief in yourself. If you don't have that belief in yourself, you're setting yourself up to fail. The only way to fail is to quit. So stay focused on that and make sure that you're doing everything that you can to help yourself achieve those goals and that you're setting yourself up for success. Did I miss it?
No, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. So we've got just about 5 to 7 minutes left. If there's anybody, I've got some people in massive action right now or just whatever. If you want to just pick this girl's brain, I'm going to kind of take the first 3 questions based on how long they go. So all you have to do is unmute your line, and then just ask Renee what it is that might be able to help you on your journey. Just something, hearing it from another expert in the company, multiple 6-figure income earner who's being trained by the #1 income earners in Isogenics. So if you've got a question, hop out. Don't be shy.
Hey, Lauren.
Yep, we can hear you.
So I'm doing a launch party this weekend, and what I want to know is how much do you guys kind of prep people before they come to the launch party, right? Like, do you send them videos? Like, how much do you kind of warm them up, if you will?
I'm going to let Renee answer because she's our host, and then I can chime in afterwards, but our guest, not our host.
Okay, so I want to make sure I got the question. So you said, how do you prep people for a launch party?
Yeah, do you kind of warm them up, or do you have it be kind of their second or third exposure, or is it just their first exposure? Like, what do you tell people like before they get there? We're going to have mimosas. They know that we're talking about health and wellness, but I'm pretty new to this, so they don't necessarily know that I'm doing Isogenics.
Awesome. Okay, that's a great question. So, you know, everybody does this differently, and there is no right or wrong. So I just want to say this is kind of what I do. And then Lauren, you might I think actually would be beneficial if you also followed up with what you think, because Lauren does more launches than I do. I will tell you that I am not a huge launch party person. I love launch parties and I've done plenty of them, but not nearly as many as Lauren. So what I do is I really focus on the fact that my goal for today, especially if it's very product heavy launch, and I probe the audience, first of all, to find out, you know, you're interested in better health? Are you here today because you're interested in opportunity to make extra money? Do you want better sleep? Like, I really try to gauge them in the beginning of the gathering so that I can get an understanding of what the crowd is like and what's going to appeal to them. So then I can kind of target that through the actual launch in of itself. That's number one. And number two, I'm very, like I said, I'm very low pressure.
Renee, you're muted, Mama. We just lost you for a second. You said you're low pressure and then we lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Okay, so I'm low pressure. So what I do is I typically will tell people that my goal for today is that they walk away at a minimum with learning something new that they're going to be able to apply to their every single day life. Okay. Because I've become really passionate about this amazing nutritional program that was introduced to me. And I feel as though it is my calling to be able to, it is what I feel that I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't share this with them. So just come with an open mind. So I really do make sure that I preface, you know, I want you to sit here with an open mind today. You might have been dragged here by a spouse. You might be dragged here by me, whatever. But just sit back for the next 30 minutes and have an open mind. And so you're kind of framing or pre-framing the whole event this way. You don't feel as though you're putting them into an awkward or uncomfortable position. And so that's kind of how I preface every single launch party. And then you just kind of go into your show. You know, it depends on, you know, what your approach is and what your audience is there for. I've had times where every single person that's come wants to be there for the opportunity. So we do a very brief presentation on the products. We still want to do it because we want them to understand the foundation of this business and what it's about, because we don't have a business without the products. And then I'll kind of shift into the opportunity for income and how they can share this just like I did. So, Lauren, do you want to share a little bit about?
I'll tell you, we always
your thoughts are
like, I think that, you know, people always say like those that are continually, you know, like growing is the ones that are most successful. Like, I mean, I'm learning stuff from you too, and never, ever, ever in a launch party have I said, my goal is for you to be able to walk away with one thing tonight that can impact your life. Like, how awesome is that, right? So we're all like learning. I mean, what a cool way to make it no pressure and no salesy. Kimberly, in an answer to your question, I don't send a video or anything before. I mean, this is not individual stuff. You're going to do that at the event. I think it's great to keep the curiosity. Sometimes people will come because they're so curious what it is. The fact that you're not going to tell them. If you throw them the whole handbag and, you know, kitchen sink before they come, what would be the value of them coming to your party? And so if they come, you know, then not only do they see the support, do they hear the testimonials, but like if one person enrolls, you start to have this domino effect, right? And you want that energy there. If you start sending them everything, they're like, okay, I got everything I need to know. Why would they come to your event? And like, you're going to go through it. You're either going to play a movie or tell the story and cover that. Just remember, you want to have fun. You know, I mean, this whole thing is like, don't make launch parties weird. People don't come because they feel like they're going to be sold. But if they get to hang out with a bunch of girlfriends, have some wine, learn some stuff, like you're going to have a packed house, right? Like the one that I'm headed to now that's currently happening. But I had to do this and I'm flying back over there. They have 16 people over there. She has a chiropractor. She has a dermatologist. I mean, it is packed because she made it fun. Like she called it happy hour, like what did it say? Happy Hour Health and Wellness Solutions. And it was like, if you're interested for blah, 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 check it out. If nothing else, come hang out with me. I promise to have good food and a lot of wine. It's packed over there. These people have no idea what they just came to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't even supposed to do it, but she's like, can you please help me? I have more people here than I was expecting. Like, that's why, you know, what happened. So I would not send a lot of stuff. You guys, I know we've got our team call coming up. Jen Feichter and Laura are about to host that All About launch party. So there's going to be so much happening in the next 5 minutes. If there's one more quick question, I want to make sure that we've got every tidbit of Renee's genius given to you. Otherwise, we're going to sign off and I'll put this recording up later. But if anybody else has one more question, feel free to hop out and ask.
I must have done a good job then.
Oh, I have a question.
Oh, good. Carrie, I recognize your voice.
Yeah. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
So my question is, how do you, so you have these people that are really excited and are motivated, and then you have the other people that you feel like you're dragging. How do you have that conversation with them where it's like, look, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time, but I'm not your babysitter kind of situation?
We would cut out an interview.
Oh.
Renee,
So
she's talking about like how do you drop dead
connection
weight,
is so
like how
bad.
you're not dragging people in your business.
How you're not dragging people in.
Yeah. And how you have that conversation
I mean,
with them.
like I said, I pretty much, I will tell them. Okay. I'll pretty much tell them, you know, I can't want this more for you than you want it for yourself. So I pretty much will kind of cut that right in the beginning and just say, you know, if the timing isn't right for you, I respect that. I'm always going to be here, always going to be able to support you. And that's actually how I handle it with all my friends. Most of my friends are casual product users of Isogenics. I might have one or two that's potentially casually building, but they've come to me over time. And I just kind of let them do that. So ruin that safe space that I had with them. I wanted to be able to expose them to it. They all know about my success. They know about my health. And I wanted them to be able to experience it for themselves. In some cases, that took validation outside of me. So other people we knew to validate that this was the right thing for them to do. And it might do that. Like if you feel like you're dragging people through this with you, then you kind of need to step back and you need to reevaluate. If it feels weird, it is weird. If it's awkward, it is awkward. It's just as awkward for them as it is for you. So just make sure you keep that in mind, step back and reflect on where you're at and what's going on in the situation so that you don't have that weird feeling in the whole vibe. And sometimes you just need to let it go for a little bit and let it come back.
So good. You guys, in a second, I'm going to unmute you all, and I want you guys to make some noise and applaud and just pour some love and greatness into Renee and thank her for all of her time and expertise. But before that, I really hope you guys got some takeaways. You know, make a massive, massive list. You know, be relentless, have the perseverance, you know, how to overcome some of these no's, be so clear in your vision, lead with the products, love on your product users, and get excited about those pools. Don't just build wide, build deep. You know, one of the coolest things about Isogenics is that we aren't a company that's like, you have to go 7 wide, or you have to go 7 deep, or, you know, it's a binary compensation plan with unlimited levels, but build wide, build deep, maximize all the ways that we get paid. You guys, she dropped some golden nuggets. I'm going to put this recording up and I hope you go back and listen again. So I'm going to mute. Please make some noise and celebrate her and thank her for all of her time tonight.
Thank you.
Woo, woo, woo. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
Renee, you're the best. I'm going to end this meeting and go to the launch party. I will talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye, you guys. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.